story. I'm hearing it in this story of Lazarus who was ill, who has died, and Jesus saying, I hear you, but I'm just going to stay a couple more days. How many of you in God's timing, when you're praying over someone or someone is ill and someone's hurting, pray for Jesus to wait 2 more days? Have you ever prayed that? Have you ever requested that? Jesus, I need help now. If you could stay where you're at for 2 days, then come over. I think it's going to work fine. Anyone ever said that? Why? Because we want Jesus here, now, in our lives, present for us when we need it. Is that true? It is. That's how we want to experience Jesus. We want to experience Jesus in a way that when we call on Jesus, Jesus is there, in presence, healing, doing miracles, doing all these different things. We want Jesus to be on whose time? Our time. But whose time is Jesus is on? God's time. And I was reading and researching this text. There was a statement that came out that I struggled with. And I understood it, but I struggled. It said this. It said, God's delay is not God's denial. One more time. It said, God's delay in your prayers and your requests for your wanting of Jesus Christ to be present in your life is not a denial when he delays. And I struggled because I don't know about this delay word. I don't see God ever delaying. I don't see Jesus going, no. I'm just going to wait 2 days. Let's see how that goes. I don't hear that in this text. What I hear is that Jesus was preaching and reaching the people and walking with his disciples, and he was serving somebody, and then he had a prayer request come over from here, and he said, my work here is still valid. I'm with you, but I'm not worried about this because I have God. And what I pray through God comes into pass, and I am the light of the world and the resurrection. I'll be there, but my work continues here. Have faith. And I'm hearing this over and over again, and I realized that it's not about that God's delay doesn't mean denial. It's different. And I want you to hear it this way. God's patience results in perfect timing every time. Our God does not delay. Our God is patient. Our God is understanding. And our God is understanding not only of our own story, but of every story in the world around us. Every single one. And do you know what that word, and the reason I came to this, when it said that Jesus stayed, I got stuck there too. I was like, stayed? What does that mean in Scripture? And when he says stayed, it means he dwelled. He made a home. He abided. It means he continued. So what the text is saying is that when Mary and Martha sent for someone to go see him, it said that he had made a home where he's at, and the work he was doing was continuing there, and he can't be there with you yet, but the text makes it sound like, hey, he just stayed for 2 more days. And look how everyone desires Jesus in that moment. I want the physical presence of Jesus. The literal physical presence of Jesus is what Mary and Martha asked for. If only you were here. The disciples, well, if he's just sleeping, it's literal. He's just sleeping. Why do we need to go? He'll wake up. And I love it. Jesus said plainly. Like that, plainly. Okay, here's the deal, disciples. Apparently you're not understanding. Once again, he's dead. Lazarus is dead and we need to go. What we desire in our life is so much of the physical presence that sometimes we miss the working of the Spirit. And what you're seeing today in those 10 confirmands, what you saw in Sophia is a working of the Spirit, not just today, but through their entire life. And what the church asks of them, that I ask of you today, is how are you going to tell the story of your entire life experience of God, not just this moment?